Mohamed Sanu was traded to the New England Patriots. Imagine waking up today and find out, like, hey, you're going from that dumpster fire in Atlanta to the best team in the NFL, probably the best dynasty in all-time sports, North American professional sports, I should say. It's like if you went and ordered regular fries, but instead the cashier brought you a Super Bowl ring. You're like, oh, this isn't what I ordered. But I'm absolutely delighted to have it. So obviously, Mohamed Sanu is in a much better situation. Obviously, probably not going to be available on your waiver wire. But again, it's worth checking out. And as a matter of fact, let's go over the list of guys that you need to do your due diligence on, because that's, one of the biggest things about the waiver wire. It's not just what you're doing on Tuesday. It's what you're doing the rest of the week. So every Tuesday morning, go out, see who's available. Obviously, Chase Edmonds might have slipped through the cracks. Latavius Murray might have slipped through the cracks. I know that there are people in 10-team leagues who might not have had room for these guys. So go ahead and check it out. Of course, if you're in a 12-team leagues or bigger, odds are these guys are gone. But you know what? I want you to go out and look. At least pay attention. Jamal Williams, there's another guy possibly could have slipped through the cracks. Corey Davis. Ryan Tannehill comes in, and all of a sudden, Corey Davis looks like a top draft pick that he is. Obviously, he went, 5th, 6th, 7th overall? He was a top 10 receiver. Ryan Tannehill went out and used him. I don't know if that's because the Chargers are battling some injuries, but this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Corey Davis is going to have a lot of value. So that is somebody you need to be looking for. He might be rostered. And again, if you're in deeper leagues, look at A.J. Brown. There's a guy that we thought had a lot of ability coming into the season. Now gets a chance to show it off because Ryan Tannehill could actually complete a pass. And again, the thing with Marcus Mariota, huge fan, loved him at Oregon, doesn't quite have it. I hope the Bears don't wait as long on Mitch Trubisky as the Titans did with Marcus Mariota, trying to make that happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen. But we can take a look, though. Let's look at the guys who are likely available on your waiver wire right now and go through some of those names. Now, obviously, Kerryon Johnson, one of the bigger injuries over the weekend. Disappointing, of course, anybody who started him. I was in a league where I started him and David Johnson and Matt Ryan. Still almost won, though, thanks to Sony Michel, but unfortunately that wasn't enough. But the one top priority you should be looking at is Ty Johnson, 71% of the snaps last week when Kerryon went out. Mark Walton is the number one running back for the Miami Dolphins. And being the number one running back for the Dolphins is like being the number one running back for the Dolphins. Like, they're not going to be leading in enough games where he's going to be important. But again, deeper leagues, you're in that kind of situation. Wendell Smallwood, talk about being on a terrible team and being the top running back. Wendell Smallwood could end up being the top running back for the Washington FC because Adrian Peterson has an ankle injury. And as a matter of fact, Adrian Peterson actually had more yards than I thought he was going to. But again, Darius Geis could be returning to the mix at some point. And you know what? Here's the guy, though, I really like. Darrell Henderson. I think that everybody really liked him coming into the season. The Rams, used a second-round pick on him, and everybody's been waiting. And he's shown some flashes. This game in Great Britain might be an opportunity for him to bust out. And again, I know it's going to be risky, but if you look at the trend, most teams are running almost exclusively against the Cincinnati Bengals, which means that Darrell Henderson could be kind of a sneaky option. I'm not going to go out and promise you Chase Edmonds type of production, but this is certainly a flex with benefits situation where the Rams might want to scale back Todd Gurley a little bit, especially in the second half. We don't know what this travel to Great Britain is going to do with guys who are ailing like Todd Gurley. Oh, like poor Jalen Ramsey and his back end. God, what a miraculous recovery Jalen Ramsey had. That's insane how quickly he was able to turn that around. But that is about it for the running back position. We don't have a lot of good. There's just not a lot of good options. I know you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. If course, if you're in one of those leagues, and this is the situation I'm in, where our waiver priority does not reset, I really have to make a tough decision if I'm going to use it on Ty Johnson. Now, I do have some backup options, so I might be able to get by. But you know what? If you have Kerryon Johnson and you've been holding a waiver claim, this might be the time to dive in on Ty Johnson. Because again, this Detroit offense has actually been playing pretty well. Speaking of the Detroit offense, let's talk a little bit about Matthew Stafford, who is available on way too many fantasy rosters. And I get it. The quarterback position, a lot of people don't carry multiple quarterbacks. And I've seen it, though, in some leagues that I'm in, where you have 10, 12 teams. I have opponents who do carry two quarterbacks. Like that is a thing. Like to us who are in the industry, so to speak, I hate to use that phrase, but it is weird. Like when you're playing in home leagues or leagues that, and I'm not saying that they don't know what they're doing and they're not paying attention, but I find more and more that a lot of people carry backup quarterbacks. And I know it's easy for us to sit here and be like, oh, we can stream. Last week, if you tried to stream Jimmy Garoppolo, that didn't work out because the rain was incredible in Washington. It looked like that scene in The Notebook where the guy was running up to the girl and they kissed in the rain. Like it was like that. It was like a Hollywood movie set. And I'm sorry that I used The Notebook as an example. Listen, I'm not too proud. That movie had me weeping like a baby. Like my baby who weeps way too much. But anyways, that's beside the point. Matthew Stafford is available in way too many fantasy leagues. Pick him up this week, especially if you have to wait on a decision about Matt Ryan, who they might, because they have a bye looming, they might hold him off for a week. They traded Mohamed Sanu. They're probably not really super interested in winning. So I like Matthew Stafford this week. Believe it or not, I also like Kirk Cousins. He's the face of the video. And again, this is probably an instance where he's probably gone. But again, we're doing our due diligence. This is a great revenge game against the Washington FC. But by the way, why is this a Kirk Cousins revenge game? Like he got paid by Washington. He's fine. But what about Case Keenum? The guy who took the Vikings to the NFC Championship game and was unceremoniously dumped by Kirk Cousins. Like Case Keenum's the one who's egreged here, right? Like he's the one who's got a legitimate beef. He's got heat. The Vikings stepped out. Oh, you saw somebody younger and hotter? You just dumped him? After he got you to the NFC Championship game? How dare you? But Kirk Cousins, he's been playing well. As a matter of fact, he is the first player in NFL history to throw for 300 yards and have a passer rating above, 130 in 3 consecutive games. So, listen, Kirk Cousins, does he look like a guy who would be doing an enterprise commercial if he wasn't playing NFL? Yeah, he'd be holding up his jersey, being like, hey, here I am, I'm renting cars. I used to be the Michigan State quarterback. Does he look like every manager at Outback who you have to complain to because they're not bringing you enough bread? Yes, he does. But you know what? He's been playing very good as an NFL quarterback in recent weeks. And you know what? I'm kind of doing this selfishly as well because, I want to pick up Kirk Cousins because I know the moment that I do, the moment that I select Kirk Cousins and put him into my lineup, 4 interceptions against what? It's going to happen because that's what Kirk Cousins does. This is the kind of player that he is, but he's obviously a great streaming option. What about Jacoby Brissett? I believe he leads the NFL in touchdown passes. He's had at least 2 touchdown passes in every game, including 4 this past weekend. One of the knocks on him early was that he wasn't getting enough yards, but now that situation is kind of taking care of itself. So Jacoby Brissett has got a nice slate of games upcoming as well. He's got a tougher one this week. He's going up against the Denver Broncos, whereas Matthew Stafford's going against the Giants. Cousins has Washington. And obviously other quarterbacks do. So I think Jacoby Brissett would probably be third, followed by Gardner Minshew. Going up against those Jets who've been victimized by opposing quarterbacks. And that game figures to be a little bit closer than what we saw on Monday night. So that could be more opportunity for Gardner Minshew to go out and throw the football. Some tight ends. Yeah, the tight end situation is dire, but Ricky Seals-Jones returns from his bye. He's a viable option, I guess. Chris Herndon at some point is going to be back playing for the New York Jets. Kyle Rudolph still available. You know what? This is actually probably my top pick because with Adam Thielen out, this is an opportunity for Kyle Rudolph to step in and kind of, walk into that void. Although Irv Smith could end up being the slot receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, so pay attention to that as well. Defenses to stream. Steelers, obviously, they're playing the Colts. Or they're playing the Colts. They're playing the Dolphins. So I do like the Colts DST this week. As well as the Seahawks, especially if Matt Ryan is going to be unable to go. So good luck, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. We will, you could probably check out you can guarantee you, check out the NFL Fantasy League One. If you have not downloaded the all-new NFL Fantasy app, make sure you do that. You can watch games on it. You can watch Fantasy League One on it. Can't watch Fantasy Live. Be sure to check that out on the NFL Network. Download the Adam Rank podcast. That comes out on Thursday mornings. And I think that's it. Oh, by the way, big thanks to New Era. How sick is this New Era hat? So I do want to do New Era. Their hats just keep stepping up. And I think this 100-year celebration, New Era goes out and continues to crush it. Take all my money, New Era. My kids aren't going to be able to go to Stanford, but I got a bunch of sick hats. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.